We are sorry.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be.
New world order.
New world order.
New world order.
A new world order.
It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
What's wrong? Take 4 red capsules. In 10 minutes, take 2 more. Help is on the way.
And welcome everybody to episode 10 of Lost in Transmission Afternoon Edition. I'm your host Chris Perkins and joined by my co-host Michael Wagner. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, man?
Things have been better, but we won't talk about that stuff on air. It's been a pain in the ass day. It's a week. But we're here. Wanted to start at 1, but as you know, I ran into a few issues, and yeah, it is what it is. Short and sweet show today. We'll get Derrick on. We'll talk a little bit about voting. Our opinion. The three of us have very similar opinions on voting, so we'll get into that. And we'll talk a little bit. I don't know if we'll get into it with Derrick. Maybe we can touch up on it a little bit. But, I told him short and sweet. Won't take up too much of his time today. Derrick's a very busy person. And I know he's got a lot going on. We were going to do this Monday. And that was like the day he couldn't do it because he was on like a couple radio shows already. So, yeah, he's a busy dude. He's really got his shit together. I respect Derrick a lot, and that's why I love having him on the show. Plus, he always gives a great point of view on things. Very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but...
Yeah, he's humble. I've always had a lot of respect for him.
Right. Oof, I was supposed to change internet connections, too. But, I know we're going to eat up data here. I do have to change this over to the other hotspot so I don't eat too much of this up. But that's okay. I'll do that when we'll take a short break here in a couple minutes, and then we'll come back with Derrick anyway.
Cool.
I can hear dogs barking downstairs and everything.
Oh, really?
It's
well,
like
I don't hear from the mic.
The daytime, so like hectic. As you know, like I got some other stuff going on, so it's just made things really hectic. But I do like the day shift.
At least it's a bad day, not a bad life,
Yeah. It's just a bad day, or it's been a bad week. It's not a life issue. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And then, of course, and that kind of keeps me from. It's like even getting on Facebook and I see all this stuff. Like even with this Scalia death, it's very shady. I showed you the article.
IntelHub.
Yep, from IntelHub. I think
that's an interesting one. I like that one.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of like you know me, dude. Like, I mean, I used to like jump on these things, but it's like now I just kind of stay back. I wait, for other. I'm like, okay, all these other people are going to put in the time.
Oh yeah, you don't want to open your mouth before it's too late.
Exactly. and I don't even. Yeah, I don't as much like I used to. Like I would just jump right on it, But now I'm just like, we have all these people now that just like, if they're just random people, like they're looking into it. And it's sad that we have to do that in the first place, but we do, and it's something that we have to do. And we do catch a lot of shit for it because every time like we bring something, you get considered like a kook or whatever, which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, you crackpot.
Yeah, and it's like that article that I shared about I should have had that up, about the CIA, how they pretty much, created the term, the conspiracy theorist term, and started demonizing it like it was a bad thing. But it's really not. But, of course, the media has, and the government has pushed it through as a bad thing, as being a conspiracy theorist. I mean, I really don't. What's wrong with theorizing things, especially when you have the media that we have now, which just makes shit up. It just tells us a bunch of bullshit. Like it's our job, and that's why like the new media is basically starting to take over the old mainstream media, which I love talking about with Derrick, because like he's been doing this for a long time, and he's, like I said, man, him and Justin King, man, I respect the hell out of both of them, because I know what it takes to do the stuff that they're doing, and they're doing way more than I'm doing, and I just, how do you do that all? And I just don't get it, man, because like, of course, like, when I do stuff, I have to like run all the Facebook pages, I have to run the website, and it's just time consuming. It's not like it's hard.
Oh yeah.
It's just time
Especially
consuming.
with that internet of yours, you got to
and
get
then,
set up.
and then running the mobile broadband and not running normal internet. So it's really hard. So it's like I commend those guys, because I can only imagine how their days are. But it's cool because they're doing. So I'm doing what I like to do. They're doing what they like to do, and that's why I think that they should be pushed more. Because man, people, you can do things that you want to do. You don't have to go. No offense, Michael, working a slave job.
Yeah, I am. I admit
I'm just messing with you, man. We've all been there. You got to do what you got to do. It's just like people will give people shit for putting ads on their websites and stuff. Like, how do you think we get paid? Like, we don't get paid by the hour. I mean, there's some little bit of selling out, if you want to call it selling out.
And they're legitimate ads for the causes too. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean,
like an ad for Coca-Cola or anything.
Yeah. I mean, granted, like my website kind of like it picks the ads, but I'll see like Best Buy ads up there. But then again, I shop at Best Buy, so I can't really talk a lot of shit about that, But I don't mind stuff like that. But there's like when you get like the ads that are like complete, like say you get like if I had like vaccine ads or drug, pharmaceutical company ads and stuff like that. That's pushing it, obviously.
Best Buy is an electronics store, isn't it?
What's that?
Best Buy,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have one in my town. I've only been to Best Buy like a couple times.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever. I use ad blocker, so I don't really get to see all the ads on. But I've noticed I've had Verizon ads and stuff, but I can't say anything bad about Verizon because I'm using Verizon. So.
Oh yeah.
But it is what it is. All right.
So ad blocker, I need to install that for this tablet.
I try not to tell too many people about it because like you get everybody. That's what's been killing like my ad revenue is ad blocker, because people are finding out about it. And what I do with ad blocker is like say like Derrick Broze's website, the Conscience Resistance Network. Like I'll set it so it doesn't come on. Just like I don't even know like what he has for ads on there. I don't have anything up right now, but like I just do that for people like that. Or if they have a YouTube channel, I'll turn it right off on their channel. Like I did that. I actually do that for him and for other people that do what we do, or just have their YouTube, like I don't know, like Adam Kokesh, stuff like that. Actually, I didn't do it for Adam Kokesh, but I'm just coming up with someone off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I just turn it off just because I know that part of their income is from the ads, and it's not really that big of a deal. Like, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, like a little 15-second ad, like whoop-de-doo, man, you get a little break. Like especially when I put like 2-hour interviews up on YouTube. Like, there's nothing wrong with like taking like a little 15-second break or in between. And it's not even a break. Sometimes they're just these little ads that pop up at the bottom of the screen, so it doesn't interrupt the show or anything, or the recording, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, don't think that we're like selling out just because we have ads. Like, you have to think about it. Like, we're not getting paid by the hour. We're not like, working for Fox News and have like a salary and and we don't get paid to make up news and give the government's narrative to everything. It's all raw, man. It's all raw.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I found some good ads, where it led me to good sites for like water filters or survival.
And you can filter them out. Like, even like I've done that. I've filtered a few out because I started seeing some ads, or someone said something to me. I'm like, what? No way. And I checked the ad out. And they're usually pretty good because I use WordPress and I have the Word ads, and they're actually pretty good with matching up the ads with the content. So I really don't have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, Google and AdSense really don't do that for you. Like, they just put whatever. But you can. There's filters, and you can, but I don't really bother. It's like, whatever. Unless there's a really shitty ad on there that completely contradicts my website and my way of thinking. And it's not that big of a deal to me. So I don't know. Maybe we Mark to call in it sometime. Trying to here we go. All right. Anyway, so this Scalia murder, cover up, death, I don't know what you want to call it. We had of course I shared an article on the website, but I'll talk about this IntelliHub one. Some quotes here. Anyway, so they supposedly they found him with a pillow over his head, which can be suspicious or it can't be suspicious because some people do sleep with a pillow over their head. But everything that's just you're putting everything together. He was there on vacation. It was like a free vacation given to him by. Hold on a second. No, I don't know. I don't know the guy's name. But anyway, yeah, it's like a vacation that was given to him. And this is actually a longer article than I thought, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Did you ever watch the video?
I know because it eats up my data, so I didn't watch the video.
Oh,
Yeah, I probably should have actually.
It was just a court case anyway, but yeah.
Right. All right. Bear with me here.
Oh, it's all good. Is Mark actually calling in? Let me check the messages. I haven't. Oh no, he isn't even.
I doubt it. All right. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, like the people questioning it are actually like police detectives. William O. Ritchie, former head of criminal investigations for D.C. Police, makes clear, despite liberal pundits trying to insinuate otherwise, that the fact that no autopsy was performed was highly irregular. Quote unquote, as a former homicide commander, I am stunned that no autopsy was ordered for Justice Scalia. You have a Supreme Court justice who died, not in attendance of a physician. You have a non-homicide trained U.S. Marshal tell the Justice of Peace that no foul play was observed. You have a Justice of the Peace pronounce death while not being on the scene and without any medical training. Opening what? I think he spelled something wrong here. That's not a word. But anyway, I'm just reading what he wrote, but that's he forgot a letter. Anyway, so that the justice died of a heart attack, with medical proof exists of a myocardial wow. All right, you got to spell check your stuff. Anyway.
Oh yeah, but the marshal said, how.
Yeah.
Hold on. Damn it! All these ads, man. I'm gonna forget that. But yeah, without a through. Oh. Jesus.
But there's a lot
I gotta find where I was reading.
well, that's what happened to me. I was scrolling down through here, and it was so long, I kind of lost place where I was. But yeah, so anyway, we have people. We had a Michael Savage. I don't know if you listen to his show, but he has Trump on regularly, and well, even Donald Trump is questioning it, like, what's going on here? Because this is how it like. This just reminds me of like an episode of House of Cards. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, we know they do it, and when people, what bothers me is when people like discount it, like, oh no, you know, there's no way. What do you mean? Like, this stuff goes on all the time, and now
throughout history.
Yeah, look at all the circumstances and everything, and all the details we're getting from this. Like, come on, like, this wasn't handled right. Why wasn't it handled right? It's just bullshit. So I personally think that he was murdered. Now that I've looked into things, and just seen even a few things without even like getting even really deep into it, but seeing all this factual stuff about it's shady to me. I know a lot of other people feel the same way. Like I said, I haven't really dug too deep into it, but it doesn't seem like something that you actually need to dig too deep into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Obama is friends with the ranch owner that he was at. You know what I mean? It's a big
and he gave him an award.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean...
That's another questionable call. That's just...
Yeah. There's a lot of questions.
And then the media, they're quick to say, oh, natural causes, you know, this... Sorry, confirmed, natural causes.
Yeah, without even looking into it, then, what was it, the next day, they ruled it a heart attack. Which, when I hear heart attack, I think of, you know, like in the article, the heart attack gun, and people think that it's not real, but no, this is actually real. There is a gun that can give people heart attacks, and that's not like really crazy technology. I mean, that's actually pretty. You know what I'm saying? That's not like a huge deal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
or drugs,
happens.
but you know they never really checked for any illegal substances.
Right.
No
we didn't have he didn't get Heath Ledgered.
Yeah.
Not that we know. Well, we don't know. There was no autopsy, so how the hell do we know, right?
Why don't the people deserve to know, though? Are we just not good enough for the truth? And
another thing that it kind of bothered me was the family asked not to have an autopsy, which I don't think is too big of a deal because it's, I mean, even I think back when I don't know if it was my grandfather or grandmother died, but it might have been my grandmother, but they didn't have an autopsy because they were just like, no, don't mess with her body. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of being respectful. Obviously, nobody was trying to murder my grandmother, but
yeah, either the family
like
was
that.
lied to or they were paid off. Either way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's got to be one of those. It has to be. Nothing adds up. It's just like all these other things that we have to look into ourselves. Like, stuff doesn't add up, and we end up being the ones that have to look into it. And then once we do, we look into it, we're treated like, I don't know about you, but like, you know, when I actually sit down, start digging, it's like, oh, well, you just spend all your day on the internet all day. It's like, yeah, there's a lot more to it than me getting on the internet and playing around and shit. Like, legitimate, you know, there's a lot of legitimate work that goes into this, or anybody investigating it.
I play Xbox with this guy who actually personally knew him. He even had pictures with this Justice Scalia, and
oh no shit.
You know, he was a real estate guy, and he was around the courts a lot. So, but he said he was a nice dude. You know, he had complete respect for this Scalia.
Sure. I mean, you know, I wasn't like, I mean, he had his flaws. I'm not sitting here sticking up for the guy either, but I think there's some motive, definitely some motive. I mean, if you think about it, we got Obama. You know, people are saying like, oh, his term is kind of almost over, but not really. He's actually almost got like a full year. I mean, he's not out until next January, basically a fucking year. So I mean, it's not like, but he is a lame duck president. At this, you know, you're in your last year. When you start pushing things and doing things like, yeah, it's got to be suspicious. And to me, it's very suspicious. And especially his stances on things. Like, hold on, I'm trying to...
Has he picked a new justice yet?
No. It's, I had it up. What's her name? They're pushing for... Oh, my God, I have it up here. No, it's not up here now. I can't think of her name. Or it's up here. Well, she's
pushing for
she's
someone to become justice?
Yeah, I just can't think of her name. It's a woman.
Oh. You know, I read that they were pushing for Obama to be a justice.
Well, that was
election.
that was just the interview there that or Hillary, someone brought it up and she was like, oh yeah, you know. No. You do that, then we know something's up for sure. No, I don't have her name. I did. Yeah, anyway. I just can't. That's kind of bugging me. You know me, man, when I can't think of something, it just eats at my mind until I actually figure out who it is.
Yeah. Well, I forget everything too, man. It sucks.
Right. But anyway, so yeah, you know, he's going to push for someone. We got the Republicans who are going to try to block it. I mean, and it is what the president does. They you know, he does choose it, but this is just
they're already playing politics over it.
Yes,
you know?
and it's so and it seems so convenient to me. Like, I don't know.
Hey, we got some new shit to argue about.
Right, and then there's that. We got more distractions and.
I did watch the recent debate with the GOP. It's the second one I've watched so far, and that was pretty entertaining, man. Like, they're actually starting to fight with each other, and I like it. I want to see a fist fight break out.
I think it's actually funny. I mean, I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I do I smile and laugh at some of the shit that he says. Because he does.
Oh, yeah.
People want to look at it like, this is what bugs me, is people will be like, well, we already knew about that. He's not telling us anything. Well, he might. Isn't the whole point of our issue, like, we're trying to get our point to other people, you know, across to other people who are, you know, mostly watch mainstream news and stuff like that. Like, we're trying to get our point across. So, like, it's at least a good thing when someone brings something up. For instance, how he brought up 9/11. Sure, he didn't get, like, deep into it, but he brought it up. He made it, you know, like a focal point, which, you know, and then I got people saying, well, this isn't new. We already knew that this. And it's like, well, yeah, we knew this, but there's millions upon millions of people who have ignored it or just haven't paid attention to it. And, like, those are the people we're trying to reach. So it is, to me, it's a plus when something like that happens. Yeah, it's Donald Trump, but still, though, when someone like that says something, and now he's questioning this what I want to call an assassination. So I don't know, man. We're living in.
He needs to just, if he really believes in it, like us, he needs to just speak out. You know, even talk about 9/11.
Right.
That's a good card he could play.
Yeah, I mean, even Ron Paul didn't get into that stuff. Think about that.
Ron Paul did say the government knew beforehand.
Well, not on the debates and stuff like that. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it was never like 9/11 was like he never was like called out. To my knowledge, never like called out like, you know, George Bush or whatever on that stuff. So I could be wrong. He might have, but I don't think that it was ever like a debate topic that he got a chance to talk. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but, you know, when Ron Paul was up there, they were basically just talking to everybody else and kind of leaving Ron in the background, kind of like they did to Rand. Or not. Yeah. Now they got cards. You got the main card. Like, what is this shit? It's like a freaking wrestling or boxing or UFC event now. They like got a main card, the undercard, and all this shit. Like, come on. It's all a show.
It definitely is a show. It really is. And, you know, we got on the other side of the coin Bernie Sanders calling out Henry Kissinger. Oh, I could respect that. I mean, hell.
Yeah.
He's definitely a messenger boy for the elite. So,
well, that's another thing. That's like my point with Trump and bringing that up. Even though I don't like either of them, I think it's still good that they bring it up. And I think people should at least take that for what it's worth, because we don't normally get this stuff. So just take it. Instead of complaining about it and that, just be happy that they said it. Whether they're corrupt assholes or whatever, that's a whole different story. They at least brought it up. I'm not saying give them credit for it, but just be happy that it got brought up in the first place. That's how I look at it. I try to put a little bit of a positive spin to it. I'm not trying to stick up for people. I'm just trying to put a positive spin to it. What good can we get out of this? This happened. They said this. What good can we get out of it? Instead of looking at, all the shitty parts of it, which we've been doing for years. Let's try to at least put some little, get into the positive end of it. So I don't know. That's how I feel. And I know other people feel the same. So, woo. Dude, I have at least 30 tabs open right now. So I don't know what I'm looking at, because I don't shut my computer down. I haven't for a while. I've got all the stuff opened and just keep it up. I wanted to talk about this. We might have to wait till after Derrick comes on. I think I shared it on my page. Did the latest article about Bernie Sanders? It's funny. I shared it, and then not long after I shared it, I saw InfoWars, somebody reporting on it from there. So it's not the first time that I've shared something, and then after that, InfoWars kind of ran with it. Just kind of wondering.
You've definitely been launching a lot of strikes at Bernie Sanders there.
Well, it bugs me. It really bugs me that people. There's so many different points of view. We could talk about this for a long time, but we don't have all the time in the world to talk about it. But this article, Investors Business Daily, they went with an article. I think it was yesterday. Bernie Sanders, the bum who wants your money. All right. Basically, I mean, he's a career politician. He's never had any type of job, any steady job. This guy was basically poor. He just kind of like weaseled his way in there, and he admits it. I mean, like in 1985, he's like, I've never had any money my entire life, So he's one of those people that think that, well, because I'm not working hard to, to earn money or whatever, that I think that other people should have to work hard to give me their money. That's how I look at it. I mean, this is a lot to get into. It'll get me off in a rant before we have Derrick come on, and I don't want to get into it and have to cut it short.
I know that my liberal friends post. It's called Bernie Singles. It's a dating site for Bernie Sanders supporters. It's so ridiculous. He really does have a chance of getting in that office.
I just got a notification that I'm getting low on my data on this hotspot. God damn it. So let's take a break so I can switch connections.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be.
New World Order.
New World Order.
New World Order.
A new world order.
It is a new world order, significantly different and radically new challenges.
each of us has to build a new world order.
What's wrong? Take 4 red capsules. In 10 minutes, take 2 more. Help is on the way.
All right. One thing I did want to we can talk about before Derrick comes on. Since the original plan for the show was we had a lot of different things we were going to talk about. You get into entertainment, sports, whatever. Like I wanted to cover everything, but recently Ronda Rousey went on the Ellen show. And what bugs me, I got this whole thing where I definitely don't think that sports stars should be role models because they really shouldn't be. Not saying that there aren't, athletes that can't be role models because there absolutely is plenty of them who can. But but it seemed like Ronda Rousey was like a focal point of the role model thing, especially to women. And I was always against it because she's got a horrible attitude. As we see, she's a sore loser. And recently, she went on the Ellen show, and talked about how after she had lost, she was contemplating suicide and all this, which I think is just all for attention. I think she's upset that she's not being talked about as the best in the world now, and now we have someone else who is obviously much better. And I think that it just got to her. I think a lot of people built her up, in their head, and I think that added to a lot of it. But I don't think that, sports stars should be role models. No, I think that's, even like, actors, actresses, whatever, I just think that's a kind of a bad route to go down. And I think it proves it when you have someone who lost and talking about killing herself. Like, come on, man. We've all, lost, man. You got to, learn to lose if you want to win. I think it was even Brock Lesnar who actually gave her some advice. I think it was yesterday. He was like, you have to learn to lose before you can actually, win. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Whether, whatever you think about Brock Lesnar, being a WWE superstar, but he was a wrestler, and he was a UFC world champion. So I mean, whether you like him or not, he's actually given some pretty good advice, in my opinion. He's definitely right, but you don't do that. I can understand where a sports star doesn't want to be considered that, but she was kind of going along with that role, you know what I mean? And I was always against it, and it's a big part of why I didn't like her. But I used to like her, and then she just came up with this attitude, and I don't know, I don't like it, and I didn't like how people were glorifying her and all that. I just think I don't know. I just think it's very counterproductive when it comes to parents looking for a role model. If you want a role model for your children, be a role model. Set examples for them, and don't rely on sports stars, actors, and musicians to be role models for your children. And that's really on you as for parenting. I mean, you want a role model for your child, be a role model. That's how I look at it. I'm not the greatest person in the world, but I do set examples and I definitely pay enough. I definitely notice. So.
Oh yeah, you got a kid. You understand.
Exactly. No, for sure. So. Yeah. So I mean, don't let sports stars be role models, especially ones that say they want to kill themselves after losing. Even though I think it's totally for attention, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's she's just emotional right now, just really
and that's what happens.
Beating herself
exactly.
up.
After a fight, that's very emotional, and you're going to be emotional after that. Win or lose, there's going to be a lot of high emotions, and I don't think she should have went public with that, and I think that maybe she might I've contemplated suicide myself, and that's just because I was upset. You know, it's not like I'm like sitting here with a razor, you know what I mean, cutting my wrists and stuff. It's going through your head, like you contemplate it. You're not actually thinking. You're not going to do it, but it just goes through your head, like, you know. And so, I mean, I do see where she's coming from, and I'm not like shitting on her for that, but I think she.
But I'm not going to pity her.
Exactly. No, I got no pity for it. I don't think that there was any place for her to bring that up, especially on such a big show. It was like she just wants people to feel bad for her, and I don't know. It turned into like this big story. So I mean, and again, we have all these stories like that just like we talked about earlier that just are just to keep us distracted. So, you know, like, they're going to run with that stuff anyway. Like, the whole Peyton Manning stuff, sure, we can get into sports because Jeff isn't on to bitch about it. But like, Peyton Manning, and I don't know if you've heard the recent stuff of Peyton and I don't know, what it was, it like like a doctor, you know, like someone in the training room or something. I don't know what it was. He something stupid. I'm not like agreeing with it and saying that it's cool to do, but just basically it was 20 years ago, and like they already reached a settlement and all this stuff, and now it's being brought up again. And after like he wins the Super Bowl, and like now he got all this HGH stuff, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like, I don't know. So every time I hear something like that, it's always like, I feel like it's just another distraction to keep your mind off this and that, and but it is bread and circuses. You know, I like to watch sports and stuff, but I do agree that it can be a distraction. But I also believe that if you make it a distraction, and if it is a distraction for you, I think that's on you. I think that's 100% your responsibility if you're doing that, because it doesn't distract me. And I can handle it. I can balance it out, you know. And I've always been a big sports fan, so, you know, whatever. But moral of the story is, don't let sports stars or actors or whatever be your role models, and don't expect your kids to choose them as role models, or don't let them anyway.
Yeah.
There's your parenting tip from the not-so-perfect Chris Perkins. But it is what it is. Yeah, I'm waiting for Derrick to call in. I don't know why we haven't heard from him yet.
Well, we can dive into the topic of socialism.
Guess we might as well, huh? Hold on. What do we got here? All right. So we got like 32 minutes left. All right. I'm going to play one more song. We'll take one more break. We'll come back. If you haven't heard from Derrick yet, I got to figure out what's going on and why we haven't got him connected yet. But take a 5-minute break here. Come back. We'll either get on the voting subject with Derrick, and if we're still having issues, we will definitely get on to a socialism land. Good back, everyone.
All right.
And welcome back, everybody, to Lost in Transmission, Episode 10. I'm your host, Chris Perkins, calling in via cell phone now, and I'm with my co-host, Michael Wagner. Does it sound all right still, buddy?
Yeah. What up, y'all?
Oh, man, I hate holding this phone up to my ear. It's definitely a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not like a normal 3 or 4 hour show. That's definitely like tumor stuff there.
Does that phone have a auxiliary port? You could plug some headphones in?
No, I can't plug.
Oh.
I mean, I have the jack for the mic, but it's not the right. I had the mic I have, just it wouldn't be very good quality. It's one of those earplug ones with the the little mic on the wire and stuff. I'm not even gonna do that.
Oh,
whatever, man.
Yeah.
We got like half an hour left, so I'll just like suck it up, and we'll get to our guest, Derrick Broze. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, just running the radio show from my cell phone right now. You can hear me all right, though, right?
Yeah, everything sounds good over here.
All right, good. Good. So, yeah, man, we won't take up too much of your time today, but the one thing we really haven't got into today on the show is voting. And like I told Michael earlier, you, me, and Michael basically have a very similar opinion on voting, but let's go ahead and let everyone know your stance on voting.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess the reason we're all talking about voting, obviously, is because the elections are going on right now, well, they're not even really close, but, the TV, the media, politicians, they want us talking about them for more than a year before the elections, and unfortunately, it's difficult to avoid them completely. So part of my strategy and my, I guess, goal during this time, besides trying to throw open my mouth as little as possible, from, just as a reaction to all this stuff, is to use this energy to push people to question the reasons, the motivations they have for voting. I see it as, I guess, just part of my overall strategy. I am a non-voter. I consider myself a principled non-voter, I guess you could say. And to me, I consider non-voting to be more of a strategic effort than anything to do with, apathy or giving up or anything like that. I think that's one of the problems we have is so many people have been taught by the state to believe that if you're not voting in the presidential elections, or you're not really participating, and you should just get out of the country, or you should somehow lose some of the benefits of being a quote unquote citizen or whatever, and all these really silly status, just simple-minded arguments really is all they are. So I try to combat that and to let people know that no, not all of us are just people who don't care. Actually, I'm okay with the people who don't care and who are just, at least they're ignorant to the system. I mean, I would be happier if they cared about something, but at least they're not out there supporting the system. They're not the people that are the hardcores that we're seeing, these like hardcore Bernie Sanders supporters and Trump supporters and all of them, who are getting all just rallied up and
all emo, emotional.
Well, I mean, I think that for those of us who've been paying attention for a few years, and especially those who maybe supported the presidential run of Ron Paul, have kind of been through this already, and I feel like anybody's been paying attention for a period of time, for more than a few elections, you kind of get to the point where you're like, wait, I have to watch people do this for the rest of my life? Like, they don't get it? Like, and it's sad, really. I just published a little essay and audio video version on the contestresistance.com just called "Here's Why I Don't Vote." And like I said, the reason I chose to do that, it's been like, just, I don't pay attention to the elections. I don't pay attention to these politicians. I write about some of the things the government does, but I look for solutions, and I try to empower myself through my community and other people in that same way. But sometimes that voice and this like parade of people, and you see friends and family people, and especially people who for the last 4 years I thought, okay, these people get it, they understand that government's the problem, or that both these parties are corrupt, but now they're like, oh no, wait no, he's going to get it, Trump's going to get it this time, or Sanders is going to do it this time, or whatever, and not even getting into any sort of philosophical disagreements with any of these candidates. It's just the idea itself that system has an answer. It's very disheartening, and it's exhausting. Like, oh, come on, guys! Like, I have so many friends who we can agree on all these different topics and have great discussions, and they can see the things that I'm seeing and the reasons that I lay out in this essay for why I think that voting is a waste of time, and they'll be in agreement, but they're like, but still, I've got to try one more time, or I'm doing this. But, they have their various reasons or justifications for continuing to support the system. And I think it's just that deeply embedded idea that we've been just taught that, that's how you make change, is within that system, right? And If you're outside of the system, then your voice isn't being heard. I wrote a couple of these little standard lines that you hear or that I've heard. If you don't vote, how will your voice be heard? If you don't vote, you have no right to complain. People died for the right to vote. If you don't vote, you're giving your power away. Non-voting is childish. You just won't play the game because you're not getting your way and things like that. These are the kind of responses we get. And as I was saying, I think you can make a moral argument against voting, that the idea of voting for a president or just the whole majority democracy voting, is immoral. So you could stand on that ground. You could look and see that the die-balled voting machines are hackable, as are many other electronic voting machines are very hackable, and those votes can be switched, pretty easily if somebody wanted to do that. You can also say that the Electoral College is actually, the one electing it, so the popular vote doesn't matter if you want to take that approach. And then you can also take the argument that you can make a better use of your time, and whenever I tell people this, I'm like, look, it's not that I don't do anything. Instead of voting and using any of that energy and researching candidates and doing whatever, I invest my energy into my community, into my own life, so that I can see an immediate and, a localized response to that action, rather than a voting. And, some people will say, well, it doesn't take that long. I wouldn't vote today. It didn't take me that long. And, to that I say, well, if voting isn't taking that long and you're not doing any research, then that doesn't make me feel any better that there's a bunch of people just going and voting, not spending much time on it. They're just following along with whatever everybody else is saying. They're jumping on the Bernie train or the Trump train or whatever. And that's how most people feel. I mean, a lot of these people that I've been seeing around are real casual political people, like not even, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I mean, electoral politics. But now all of a sudden they think that they're well versed in politics because they know the name Bernie Sanders, they know the name Trump, or they know a couple of issues, and they're like, oh, they're all hot and excited about like getting supporting this candidate. But as soon as the election passes, those people will go back to their lives and do whatever they want to do. And when that candidate starts passing legislation that goes against freedom of speech and our freedoms in general, and supports more war and supports drones and all these different things, where are those people at? And where are going to be all these celebrities who are coming out again shilling for Bernie now, who did the same thing for Obama? Where's the responsibility for these people for using their voice and their audience to promote something that is just going to be more of the same? And I know many people feel Bernie Sanders is not more of the same, and that he's got this history to back him up. I think that that's true, and out of a lot of the candidates, he definitely talks about a lot of issues that you won't hear the other ones say. But I think when you look deeper into it, not just him as an individual, but just all of them, when you look deeper at them, you can see that they're playing a role, and that, just the fact that you're in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party means that you've already made some sacrifices to be willing to play their game rather than choosing to be a true outsider. So there's nobody in that race that's an outsider. So, I also don't vote because of that, because there's nobody there that represents my values and my goals. And so I shouldn't be shamed or forced into voting because of that. It's not, we should stop buying into the whole lesser of two evils thing. I think most of us have seen through that for a long time and seen that that's not getting us anywhere. But for one reason or another, much of the population continues to, go down this road. And like I said in the beginning, this is part of my strategy, though, because whenever I get to this point, and I've explained all that philosophical moral argument, hacking, nobody that represents me, waste of time, the Electoral College, all these different things, and maybe by this point I've got them listening, and you're like, okay, you're right, there is hacking, you're right, these votes do get switched, there's lots of corruption, I hear you, but what other option do I have? What are you doing, though? Because if you're not voting, then you got to be doing something. And if you're not doing nothing, then why am I even listening to you? And to be honest, if we can't give people an idea, it doesn't mean we have to have all the answers. But if we can't give them something solid strategically, something for them to do, then, yeah, they really will be less likely to listen to you, because people want to feel secure. Our minds want to feel secure. And even if we know that voting is bullshit, people feel like they're doing something that makes them feel calmer, less stressed out, like they've contributed, and maybe the world will be better, because it's stressful to do nothing, right? And so they feel like the world's going to shit, and if they don't do anything, then, they're a horrible person. So by voting, it gives them the feeling, the security that they've done something. So
I get warm fuzzies.
Yeah, exactly. You get this warm, fuzzy reaction out of voting, and that's really all you're going to get, besides more of the same. But, the non-voting is part of the strategy of anti-political, apolitical propaganda, spreading those ideas around, getting more people to question the nature of government and the state itself. And in the article that's on the consciousresistance.com, the Here's Why I Don't Vote, I outline how that's just part one of a bigger strategy, spreading this message, this propaganda, getting people thinking about this. And, in addition to doing that, localizing, focusing on creating new forms of economic exchange that are outside of the state, using ideas like agorism and counter-economics and just building community solutions, so as you're spreading this propaganda, you're building the next thing that's outside of the shell, not working from within the current paradigm, but building new stages, experimenting with urban gardening, urban farms, land reclamation, doing homesteading projects, building these different types of communities, putting these principles in action. This is my plan. So I have a strategic plan and a goal that I'm working on over the next few years. So to me, not voting is not simply just, running away or, like I say, just being childish or just, I don't know, whatever these silly arguments. Or people say, well, non-voting is a vote anyways. Yeah, it is a vote. It's a vote that I don't support that system and that I'm not even going to give them a piece of paper or a push of a button, or a minute of my time, that instead I'm going to invest my resources, my energy, my finances into something that I believe and do support. And if you don't see that, and if you don't see that in the presidency, there's no reason to support it and then to hope that somebody's going to turn into something that you want them to be, because they won't, So instead, support yourself, support your own community, and invest that energy there.
You're completely right, too. So many people think that voting is powerful. It's incredible. And then when you tell them, okay, I'll vote, and guess who I'm going to vote for? Ron Paul. They'll be like, well, that's a waste of vote. And I'm like, didn't you just tell me my vote counts? But now you're telling me I'm wasting my vote voting Ron Paul.
Your vote counts if you vote for, one of the two parties. Yeah, don't screw it up by voting for a third party candidate or somebody who's not going to get elected. That's how they want you to think. Is just that these approaches are just designed to keep us within the mainstream system. There's a really, really amazing radical American Indian activist, John Trudell, who just recently passed away, and he gave some great, powerful speeches talking about we have to stop dealing with the oppressor on their own terms, and that includes dealing with them on the terms of voting. So they're the ones in control. They're the ones that allow all the corruption and destruction of the earth. Why do we think that they, some system that they put forth is going to give us anything other than what they want?
But, you're right. We need to remove ourselves from the system. And it's hard to remove ourselves from the federal system. Paying taxes, that's a tough one to dodge.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And this is I know I've talked to you guys about this before, that I wrote a book last year called The Conscious Resistance, and I have another book coming out in about 2 months. And then next year, the third book in the series will be out, and together they're basically going to be just this Conscious Resistance trilogy, which will examine not only, spiritual kind of deeper concepts of freedom, look at anarchist philosophy and how to find freedom in the physical realm, but then the second one's going to be more like a guidebook. It's called Finding Freedom in an Age of Confusion. It's going to look at what we consider the heart of our philosophy, looking at how to deal with life as an activist, waking up and seeing all these crazy things in the world and realizing that most of the world is exactly the opposite of what you thought, and how to just deal with that. So that's going to be more heart-based, and definitely I want people to check that one out. But looking forward, what I'm really excited about is the third book, which is going to be more of just like a hands-on manual. We don't have a name for it yet, but we're calling it right now How to Exit the Matrix, because that's kind of the general idea, is everything that I was just discussing, that strategy that I laid out of urban land reclamation, doing abandoned lot reclamation, gardening, all these different communities, these ideas of freedom cells and agorism. We're putting these in action over this next year, 2 or 3 years here in Houston, and we're documenting the process. And I'm just basically everything that we learn while building this and trying to seek alternative sources of income and tax resistance and these different methods, we will document, and it'll end up making it into the book. So I hope to be able in the next year to 2 years really provide some answers to those questions, because I have my strategies and stuff like that, but I want to do some more experimentation and see what works, and we can take friends of mine and other people who are just committed from being completely invested and dependent on the status system to getting to a point where they're free from that system, or at least partially free, and how you do that. So yeah, definitely lots to look out for that, and I really do hope to have those answers soon, because like I said, this non-voting thing, it isn't just like something to, at least for me, I mean, everybody's got a different stance, but for me, it's not just something to pull out of my hat every 4 years to annoy the voters. It's like, this is, I think, just as important about being consistent with your philosophy, and if your philosophy is that you don't want to support the corporations and the governmental entities that are enslaving us and abusing us in these different ways, then we should not be playing their game.
No, absolutely, man. And I agree with you. And that's why we appreciate what you're doing, and I actually can't wait to read the new book. And yeah, all right. Well, we don't have a lot of time. Not trying to cut anyone off, but we got like 5 minutes left of the show. So yeah, definitely. We want to get your take on the voting. We want you to plug your book. Anything else, Derrick, that you would like to plug before we wrap up here?
No, man, I just appreciate you guys having me on and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas. If anybody's interested in seeing more of my work, you can go to theconsciousresistance.com, and you can find my first book there. Is free to download under the book tab, and the next book comes out in April. So stay tuned to the website, and you'll find out more about it.
Awesome, man.
Sweet.
And definitely appreciate you coming on, taking the time to come on in the afternoon. We know you're a busy dude, so it's appreciated, and we'll definitely.
All right, thank you, brothers.
Yeah,
I
it's always
appreciate
a
it, guys.
pleasure, man.
All right, buddy.
All right, I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks, man.
Yep.